Guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Tishay, and I'm so happy once again to be your host. In today's video, we're going to be delving straight into the episode 2 of Crazy in Love that features, of course, that wonderful chrisrock and amazing blueface. If this is something you're ready to get a scoop on, you know what to do. Smash the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and let's delve right in. So this episode actually started with chrisrock pulling back up because she had previously abducted someone's car and sped off to only God knows where. But after some time she came back, and it did seem like she came back to pick up Blue, of course. And I think as at the time she pulled back up, someone else was in the car with her, whom she chased out so Blue could come in. And she finally sped off to meet up with her family. I say meet up with her family because it was later seen that she kind of went to a bowling alley, and it did seem like she was probably waiting for her family. So it did seem like she, the first time she sped off without Blue, she probably kind of got the chance to speak with her family, and it was clear to her, maybe they made it clear to her that they didn't want to meet up with Blue, or maybe they didn't want to even be in that situation where they had a lot of cameras on them. So I guess that's why Sean finally came back to pick Blue. And in fact, if you ask me, I feel like even when she sped off without Blue, I feel like she kind of probably did it intentionally to give herself some space to converse properly with her family and know what's up. Okay, so they finally decided to hang out in a bowling alley, and it was later disclosed that this bowling alley that they chose was just a stone throw away from the hotel that Sean's family was lodged in, which goes on to confirm what I had earlier said about Sean taking the time to taking the private time to reach out to her family, because how else would she had known where to hang around, or how else would she had known what location was best? But like I said, they decided to chill in the bowling alley, and the intention was to wait for her brother Mookie, who was on his way to meet up with her, and then very much later regroup with her family. Not too long after, Mookie kind of finally met up with them. He exchanged pleasantries with Blue, and he first of all definitely hugged Sean, and very much was seen later exchanging pleasantries with Blue. And they decided to just head out and go straight to meet the rest of Sean's family. Now, whilst they went downstairs, or after they had gotten downstairs, Mookie decided to pull Blue to the side to have a man-to-man conversation. At first Christian was a little bit hesitant about the whole idea, but Blue decided to Blue just urged her to leave, and that was when they finally had the conversation. So basically Mookie just went ahead to tell Blue his concern, which basically was about Sean. Definitely he told Blue that he would appreciate, or he appreciated, if Blue treated his sister better. And that was when the whole conversation about if Sean's family taught Sean to steal, fight, and all of that, and Mookie kind of was defensive. He said no and all of that. And the conversation of calling a cop on Sean also came up, and that was when Blue kind of painted a scenario saying that he woke up one morning and realized that his car and money was gone. And of course he basically just threw the question at Mookie, saying that if he was the one who woke up and discovered that his car and cash was gone, what would he have done? Mookie, if you ask me, was a little bit defensive, like I mentioned earlier. I feel like Blue was definitely trying to, like, state a point. Basically, Blue's point was that, um whatever he did basically was just, a reaction. So basically, Blue was trying to let Mookie know that, um Sean wasn't the best. Sean wasn't the most righteous. And of course, he agreed to the fact that he wasn't righteous as well. But, like, Sean, had a lot of bad traits. But basically, Sean's family was more insistent that, he was the only bad egg. Basically, that was, the point Blue was trying to make. Now, if you ask me, I do feel like Mookie, like I said, was very, very defensive. And it didn't seem like, I feel like, in fact, he was very biased. And I feel like, he ignored all the vital points Blue was trying to make. Yes, he made a point, or he had a point, on, Blue not reacting and all of that, and Blue not always reacting. But, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like Mookie was very, very defensive, because, like, if he had listened, or if he was willing to listen, he would have gotten all the necessary points Blue was trying to, like, make him, understand. But like I said, it did seem like, since Sean was his sister, like, he was all out to be very biased. Okay, so this is actually the last scene of the episode, and this is actually the very scene that had the most fire and brimstone. And this is, of course, the part where Christian finally gets to meet with her family. So apparently, they reach the location, the restaurant, or sorry, the yeah, the hotel. And Christian gets down, and the first person that comes up to hug her is, of course, her mom. The hug that the mom gave was extremely warm, and I kind of felt really relieved that at least someone has some kind of positive energy. And from there, it's kind of urged the rest of the family members to, like, close in to hug Sean. And I think I kind of saw Blueface amidst, Sean and her family hugging, running. I wouldn't say run, but, like, he was, like, gradually moving to the back of the van, or the back of the sprinter. And it did seem like, I don't know, but, like, it was really giving, he was a little bit uncomfortable still. And he was, probably a little bit, I don't know if I should use the word scared, or basically, I'm sure he at that point in time, like, wasn't sure what to expect. So he probably, felt it's right and conducive enough for him to, like, exit that spot at that particular point in time. But very much later, Sean had to, like, go fetch him. And basically, she was inquiring why he was avoiding her parents or her family. And at that particular point in time, Blue was very, like, he was forming, like, he was very busy on his phone. Like, it did give very, very childish, like, it was really giving childish from Blue. But at the same time, I feel like I understood, the awkwardness he was feeling as at that particular point in time. But he finally still made it to Sean's family. And that's when they started exchanging pleasantries. So apparently, Blue tried to be nice enough to exchange pleasantries. And he first of all started with saying hi to Teseki. And of course, Teseki came with some kind of, like, awkward and rude. I wouldn't say completely rude, but she definitely hugged Blue. But at the same time, she was like, "Hello, motherfucker," which, if you ask me, is quite rude for someone you're meeting for the first time. And I don't want to know whatsoever reason she had, that was enough for her to do that. But like I said, that was already like, the beginning of some kind of fire, right? Now, Blue also reached out a hand to say hi to Sean's second sister, and of course, it didn't go well, because that it was at that particular point in time that she basically just went straight in, letting him know from the jump that she didn't appreciate the way he treated Sean. In fact, the family as a whole didn't appreciate the way Blue treated Sean and all of that. And it was supposed to be a conversation, if you ask me, but like, it's the fact that Sean's family was very insistent that Blue had no right or had no business hitting a woman, which of course, yes, is very, very right. But then at the same time, Blue was also trying to make them understand that whatever action he gave was from, it was basically like a reaction, like it was basically a reaction from Sean's action, basically, or actions. But Sean's family was not willing to like listen to all of that bull crap, and they were even more upset at the fact that Blue responded to their questions, or responded to their concerns with questions, because as at that point in time, when they had made it clear to Blue that they didn't appreciate the fact that he hit Sean, Blue actually threw a question of did they teach Sean to be violent and all of that, so all of that was like a little bit infuriating to them. And I totally understand, but at the same time, I feel like I mentioned earlier, they were all biased, so I feel like they were all so insistent on the fact that Sean was their baby. So like, that was crap to me, because how do you have a baby that is always so violent, right? And you're not willing to like also listen to the other parties. So I mean, if you are about to like accept Blue into the family, they should also have been like very willing to like give him listening ears. But like, it did seem like they had like cotton buds stuffed in their ears, because all they wanted to do at that particular point in time was just make their points known and not even listen to the other party, which is of course Blue, right? So it's the fact that both parties were like insistent on their points, and not willing to like compromise, right? That was if you ask me what the problem was, that was what stirred the whole pot, right? And it was at this particular point, I think Mookie was okay, before even Mookie came into the scene, Sean's father had kind of like come in, also trying to make his point forcefully heard, okay, by Blue. And it did seem like he came in a little bit violent, and of course Blue wasn't feeling all of that. And in fact, at that particular point in time, when Sean's father came in, that was when like the whole conversation turned upside down, because it now seemed like it was like the whole family against Blue trying to get his point across, and the whole family getting mad that he was even trying to get his point across. And like, in between all of that, I think I saw Sean's father try to like make Blue go leave that particular point where they were, and walk somewhere else so they could have a conversation. But even when Blue tried to like move away from the whole drama, like it did seem like the whole drama was still following him, because I saw Blue's Sean's family trailing behind, like, so it was like very, very chaotic, and it was very, very it was very, very disorganized, if you ask me. Like, it wasn't even a conversation, it was more like two parties trying so hard to like forcefully make their points heard, right? So Mookie's infuriation came from the fact that at some point Blue kind of asked him why he was staring at him the way he was, and if he wanted to do something, right? And also from the fact that Blue was insisted that he wasn't going to stand down whenever he got attacked, because it was shown to, like, basically Blue, after Blue asked the question of, okay, what would you do if you're put in such a situation where you have to, like, defend yourself. The dad and the rest of Sean's dad, and of course, and the rest of her family members were insisting that he shouldn't do anything. So basically Blue, on the other hand, was like, nah, that's not gonna happen, that whenever I get attacked, I'm gonna react. So that was what, like, actually really stirred the pot and triggered a punch from Mookie. And if I must add, Mookie wasn't the only one who actually punched um Blue. It was Mookie and his dad both at the same time, and it did seem like Mookie had kind of like planned it, because he was seen whispering to his friend and his dad, who were actually the two extra persons that charged at Blue. And it was from there everything just went very chaotic, because after Mookie threw the punch, I saw Blue trying to, like, get back at him, but of course Zeus security stood in the way. And I definitely feel like if Zeus security didn't stand in that way, it probably would have been a messy, bloody fight, because since Blue didn't get or didn't have access to Mookie because of the security that held him down, he of course reached out to Sean's father. So yeah, he did that, and of course that ended up in Sean's dad having a bleeding nose, and this of course infuriated the rest of the family members, and that's when everything just went totally south. I saw Teseki remove her chains and all of that, ready to fight. Like, the scene was just really chaotic, to be honest. I saw even Teseki and the other sister charge at Sean, wanting to, like, it did seem like they were even ready to, like, gang up and beat Sean and all of that. Like, it was a really, really chaotic scene, honestly. And it was so chaotic that at some point the cops had to be called. And I feel like it's even because of the fact that they heard the cops were, like, around the corner, or were, like, headed in their direction, that they decided to, like, break whatever it was that was about to happen. So, like, yeah, that was just basically it. I really did feel bad about the fact that Blue didn't really get the opportunity to, like, be heard. And I also really did feel bad about the fact that all of this trying to introduce Blue to Sean's family was very chaotic and very traumatizing for Sean, because she was crying all through.